Okay, folks, this is your first video. Interesting to teach to an empty classroom. Most of the videos you won't see my face, lucky you, because I'm going to be doing things on paper and the camera will be a lot closer up. But the reason I'm doing this one, many of you saw putting this together. We've been trying for 2 or 3 weeks to get him up here to be able to teach this lesson, and then the world had to go and intervene. I think it was meant to be. But here goes the story. We all know he's interested in basketball. We all know that he's interested in basketball statistics, et cetera, et cetera. So he decided that because he was the kind of an assistant coach to the Ridgeline JV basketball team, that he would take some statistics, and he showed those to you last week. I'm going to explain again kind of where we're going with this. Many of you have heard of the word analytics, all right? Analytics is something that's happening in sports all over the place. Comes from the word analyze. And up until recently, most of the data that people analyzed was not really analyzed for the purpose of getting better. It was just analyzed for the purpose of seeing how good people were. And the biggest statistic we look at in sports is points most of the time. How many times somebody scores. Unless you're a goalie, and then it's how many times you defend the goal and things like that. Well, they've started analyzing things, and this is an analysis that has done. He did one on the Ridgeline team where he took some data. He actually collected all of that data that we saw last week. And we found that there is some kind of an association between how many assists his team had and what their field goal percentage was. Basically, to back up a little bit, an assist, like what you see right here, an assist is when you pass the basketball to a person in a position where he can score. The idea is that if you're a good passer, you can pass it into a position where he can score easily. We wanted to kind of show if that was true. And you would think that if somebody was a good passer and was passing the basketball consistently, that their team's field goal percentage would go up. So we have a chart here of assists versus shot percentage. When he did it before, he did it with Ridgeline High School, and we saw that ratio, and I'm going to see if I can't get a picture and show it to you and insert it here. But here, what he's done is he's taking the assist and shot percentage numbers per game, per team in the NBA, all right? You've got teams like, I think this is Chicago, San Antonio Spurs, other New York Yankees, that's a baseball team, all right? New York, okay, so this is all of those teams. 20 monkey bucks to the person who can name all of those teams that are, just have their initials up there. You'll notice that Utah, right here, the Utah Jazz, are a little bit kind of outside this set of statistics. The LA Lakers is right up here. But what I want you to do is look for a minute, just take a minute, pause, and just look at this and ask yourself, what kind of pattern do you see, if any? All right? The assists is the x-axis, it's the x value, and the shot percentage is the y value. All right? What we mean by that is we've been dealing with graphing for a long time now. We're putting an x value as the assists, comma, a y value as the shot percentage, and that dot lands at the assists, where the assists and the shot percentage meet. Okay? New York has 22 assists per game, right there, and about 0.45 shooting percentage, which is 45%, a little bit less than that, all right? Whereas Golden State looks like has, and we know this is the bad Golden State, the one without their superstars, 25 and a half assists per game and a 45% shooting percentage, okay? So take a look at this and just ask yourself what kind of patterns you have. Take a couple minutes and ask that question and write down the patterns that you see. The next question I want to ask is there a connection between how many assists people have and what's their shot percentages? Okay. Is there a connection? Now, if there's a connection, what is that connection? And this is the cool thing that is discovering. He's put in some lines here that kind of help us to see the pattern. You'll notice in the bottom left side, this quadrant of this graph, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 teams in the bottom left side. In the top right side, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. What that means is, well, let's move to this one. The bottom right is 2 teams, top left is 3 teams. All right? In fact, if we cover up these teams, what do you see? You see a huge pattern going from the bottom left up to the top right, right? The longer you look at this, the deeper you look at this, the more you realize there's a growth here. There's a linearity to this, all right? And I can actually create that. I can kind of give you an example of that linearity where what it looks like is the more assists I have as a team on average, the higher my shooting percentage is. It's obviously not perfect, is it? It's not perfect. But you can see that general trend, and that's what statistics are about. As a coach, if I look at this, I'm going to say, hey, guys, if you want a higher shooting percentage, you need to have more assists. Why do we need a higher shooting percentage? Well, that means that we're going to score more. We're going to get better scores, okay? So, with that, just kind of looking at that trend and this trend line that I'm going to create here, it just kind of goes through here. Now, this isn't an exact trend line. There's actually a way to create a trend line, and I'm going to show that to you as we get further into this unit. But you can see that there's a general trend going that direction. I'm going to put this data into my computer a little bit later, and we're going to talk about that data, and I'm going to show you some cool things that you can do at home as well, okay? Let's move on to our next idea. Here's what I got curious. I asked to do this one, okay? I purposely asked him to compare assists and shot percentage because I kind of knew what we'd see. I didn't know exactly what we'd see, but I had an idea. This is the idea, and this is our assignment. So if you don't like the assignment, you can think. I want you to use this idea to look at this new fresh set of data. Okay? This set of data that you see here is every team in the Eastern Conference and every team in the Western Conference, which means is every team in the NBA. Okay? And what you see here, the first column is their name, the team name. Second column is wins. Third column is losses. Okay? So if I were to add these two numbers together, let's do Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks have played 65 games. All right? You probably can't see that very well, but they've played 65 games. It's a good thing you can rewind this, huh? You can't rewind me. What I want to ask you is, what is their winning percentage? What's the Milwaukee Bucks winning percentage? How do I find that? I'm going to pretend some of the, yes. How do I find a winning percentage? That's right. You would take the wins, 53, and divide it by the total number of games, right? So let's do that. Take a second and do that. Wins divided by total number of games. Good. I got 81.5%, okay, or 82%. Now, those of you who just waited for me to give you the answer, once again, you know how I feel about that. You're not learning anything. Actually do the activity, take the notes, and you'll understand better what we're doing. Now, you'll note that over here, okay, he calculated the shooting percentage. We have the shooting percentage, 0.43 up through 0.49, okay, which means 43% up to 49%. And when I calculated the shooting, or the win percentage of the team, I got 0.82 or 82%, We can leave this as 0.82 because everyone understands what that means. 0.82 means 82%, and it's a little easier to work with this when you're graphing and when you're doing calculations with these winning percentages. Here's what your assignment is. You need to find the winning percentage of each of these teams, just like I did with the Milwaukee Bucks. You'll also find that this 0.82 is a really high winning percentage, one of the highest you'll ever see. So find a winning percentage of each of these teams. Once you've found that winning percentage, I want you to use this winning percentage the same way you used the shooting percentage. So you're going to create a new graph like this, all right? You're going to take the assists that each team has, okay? We'll provide you with a list of those assists because these are on the graph, they're not exact. We'll give you an exact value for each of those assists. You're going to use the assist just like he did. You're going to have this set up just like this on the bottom, but you're going to change the y-axis to not be shot percentage. You're going to change the y-axis to be winning percentage, all right? Change that y-axis to be winning percentage. Cool? Once you've done that, I want you to graph and compare the assists to the winning percentage. Because ideally, if you get a higher winning percent or a higher shooting percentage, you get more points, which would mean you have a higher winning percentage. And so what wants to see is if there's actually an association in that data. Right? Once you've done that, we'll move on to the next assignment.